This is Radio Calling. I am Sam, your host, and welcome to the sports aspect of my podcast. Now, I know that I missed the music aspect of my podcast. I was a little too busy with my main job in summer, and I didn't get around to doing a music aspect of my podcast. So, those who are looking for it, my music fans, it is coming. Um, but anyways, today we are talking about the sports, everything going around the NBA. Hopefully, this will be one of the last kind of NBA directed episodes that I talk about because I talk about the NBA a lot. There's a lot going on in the NBA, and um, a lot of things have happened. The NBA awards were just last night. Also, the NBA draft happened since the last time we did an episode of Radio Calling. So I want to get into the NBA draft and just kind of recap that and what's going on with that. And then I want to get into my main topic today. I want to focus on a specific NBA player that got the recognition that he deserves yesterday at the NBA awards. So diving into the NBA draft, if you don't know by now, I am an avid Chicago Bulls fan. I have been a Chicago Bulls fan pretty much since birth. With growing up in the '90s with Michael Jordan, going through the baby Bulls of the early 2000s, and now whatever you call this kind of generation, but I don't know. But the Bulls traded up for the seventh pick to the Minnesota Timberwolves. They got the seventh pick in the draft. And they traded away Jimmy Butler, the last person that I thought was the final or the last hope for the Bulls, and the only and they traded away their all-star of all things. I don't want to go too much into this just because I've expressed it enough to my coworkers and to people that have talked to me, and I really don't want to get heated again after draft night. I was very heated at knowing that this trade was made. But yes, Jimmy Butler is now a Minnesota Timberwolves. Zach LaVine and Chris Dunn are now Chicago Bulls. And then the Bulls drafted the tall guy out of Arizona. I don't even care what his name is because I don't think he's going to be that good. But anyways, that's my little rant about that. I'm going to leave it at that. That's all I'm going to say. The final word about the whole incident, the whole trade, a robbery trade, whatever you want to call it, all I'm saying is front office of the Chicago Bulls needs to be fired by the end of the season. That's all I'm going to say about that. Now, getting on to the NBA award ceremony that happened last night, Drake hosted it. I thought he did a bang-up job roasting everybody, and then Kenny Smith comes back and roasts him, and then Drake responds with roasting of him. So that happened. Monty Williams received the first honorary Craig Sager Award, which it wasn't really an award; it was an actual Craig Sager replica blazer suit suit coat that he wore on the sidelines. He got this award due to the fact that he lost his wife in a car accident, and he kind of the NBA community rallied around him, not only showing support for him but also support for his family. And with the late great Craig Sager passing, I think he's a well deserved of this honorary award, and the first ever Craig Sager Award. So congratulations to him on receiving that award. Now we're kind of recapping the NBA awards. Draymond Green got Defensive Player of the Year. The Bucks rookie, which name escapes me at the moment, got Rookie of the Year. Giannis Antetokounmpo. Oh my God, say his name 6 times and then come talk to me. But he got Most Improved. I fully agree with that. I think Giannis has stepped his game up to all-star caliber, and you saw that this year in the All-Star game. And the sky's the limit for him. We'll see where he goes from there, but I see the future's bright for him. He's just got to avoid the injuries, and I'm sure he'll have a long-lasting career with not only awards but all-star votings and maybe even MVP in the coming years. So we'll see. No surprise who got MVP, at least in my eyes. Obviously, Russell Westbrook got MVP. He averaged a triple-double for the full season of the NBA, and that's something that hasn't been done since Oscar Robertson. So congratulations to Russell Westbrook for getting that MVP. And Michael Jordan, who sent Russell Westbrook a letter congratulating him and also stated that he won his first MVP before winning a championship. So then a little tidbit in there. I think Russell Westbrook will win a championship. I just don't know if it's going to be in Oklahoma City or if he's going to go somewhere else. But that's for another topic. Now, moving on to my main topic of today, there was another person that got an award, the Lifetime Achievement Award by the NBA, and it was Bill Russell, not only for his dominant play on the court, but also what he stood for in the civil rights movement and what he did during that civil rights movement. And he paved the way for so many people, not only for civil rights, but he paved the way for NBA coaches, African American NBA coaches at that. He was the first African American coach in the NBA. And that's something that, Doc Rivers, Monty Williams, Mike Brown, everybody that came after Bill Russell, even Magic Johnson, who was a player coach at one point for a little bit, they all followed in the footsteps of Bill Russell. And Bill Russell is one of those people that I admire, and I've discussed this in other podcasts. He is in my Mount Rushmore or my top 5 greatest all-time NBA players. And the funny things he said yesterday that is kind of everybody's kind of graphs towards, and I even got a chuckle out of this. He was presented or the award was presented to him by Alonzo Mourning, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the Admiral David Robinson, and Dikembe Mutombo. And Bill Russell is a little older. He is 83, and he is using a cane to get around, so his body's kind of not failing him, but it's getting weaker, and you can see that he's a little weaker than what he usually is in past years. But he said he looked to them. He got the award. He looked to all of them: Alonzo Mourning, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Dikembe Mutombo, and the Admiral, and said, "I can kick your ass." And it just erupted. Everybody was laughing at him and gave him applause. Adam Silva was even smiling, applauding at him. And it's just, he's still got that competitive nature about him, which I love, and I hope if I ever get to 83, I'm still that competitive as Bill Russell was. And congratulations to him on getting that award. But not again, going back to what he stood for and how he played. He played in an era where the game of NBA was very new and it wasn't foreign, but it was very new. And, he kind of defined what an NBA center is or a power forward should be. And you see so many archetypes like that now. You see, Dwight Howard when he was back with the Orlando Magic, he had a lot of Bill Russell qualities, but he also had a lot of Wilt Chamberlain qualities about him too. But you see those people, Akeem Olajuwon, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Alonzo Mourning, the big shot blockers. They all take influence from Bill Russell, and Bill Russell wasn't always a shot blocker. He could score in the paint as well, and it's very hard. That was an age where television and movies and home movies were very, very new, and it's hard to actually find footage of Bill Russell playing, or let alone a full game of him playing. There's only been clips, and of course the NBA Association has the rights to all of the NBA games that were in the 50s and 60s. But Bill Russell is probably one of my favorite players from that era, where again, the game was foreign and the game was very new and it was being introduced to the American public. And he's just he's an archetype, and he's an entrepreneur for so many, not only for the center position, but I just stated this before, but for African American head coaches, and getting a job in the NBA is, if you're an African American and you try to be a head coach, you have to thank Bill Russell, because he was the first. Again, I said this before, but he was the first African American head coach in the NBA. But not off the court, he did a lot of things for civil rights, being with Muhammad Ali and doing a bunch of things with the civil rights movement, and make sure that he was a great example for young African Americans to, you could be a great NBA player, but you could also be very educated and very, very astute, and stand up for rights and stand up for what you believe in. And that those are things that I kind of admire about him. And it's going to be a very, very sad day, not only in my life but in the NBA community, when he passes away. And I hope it's not anytime soon. I hope we have 10 more years, 15, pushing it maybe, of Bill Russell. But congratulations, Bill Russell. And I want to go over a little bit of his career stats. And a lot of people, you know, my generation don't know a lot about Bill Russell because, we didn't grow up in that era. Um, I credit my dad for installing this, um, the previous generations that came before me, so I could go back and I could admire him, admire all of these people. And I remember, early in my NBA, or not in my NBA career, I wish, early in my basketball career, I remember, you know, doing the mic and drills, and doing all the post work, because I was a post player. And I remember, I never really understood who George Mikan was until I started doing the mic and drills. And then I started doing more research about, that era, and I got really into the Boston Celtics of, the 50s and 60s. And I really got into John Havlicek. And I remember I was very obsessed with those old videos, of NBA games. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, um, Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, of course, John Havlicek, uh, people of that nature. I really got into that era. And I appreciated, the aspect of how the game was played. And it was more fundamental back then, and it was more, running plays, and it was not about, certain players. It was about a team. And as the game progresses, through the eras, it's obviously changed. But back when my dad was growing up, um, he kind of saw, he's been through a lot, and he's seen that game change a lot. And you know I've asked him this before, and I'm sure it hasn't changed. I asked him once when I was little, who was his favorite NBA player growing up. And I remember, without batting an eye, he said Oscar Robertson. And then I did research about Oscar Robertson and what he did, and that's how I learned that he was the first to average a triple double, for an NBA season. And um, you know, props to Oscar Robertson. I really like Oscar Robertson's game, and you see that now with Russell Westbrook, that kind of comparison to him, as well. But everybody, it's not just my generation, it's my previous generations. They all look up to, you know, Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain and Elgin Baylor, all the old timers that are still around, that played through the 50s and the 60s. The NBA community, not only just me, but the NBA community just admires them and appreciates having them around. You see that a lot when Bill Russell hands out the MVP award for the finals. You see, you know, all the current NBA players just embrace Bill Russell, and just really appreciate having him there, or just having him at a game. And you see that with, when Oscar Robertson came to congratulate Russell Westbrook. Um, and these are people that paved the way for so many people. I mean, if you don't have Bill Russell, you don't have, Shaq, you don't have Hakeem Olajuwon, you don't have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I mean, if you don't have Larry Bird, you don't have, the sharpshooters, Reggie Miller, people like that. I mean, if you don't have Elgin Baylor, you don't have Clyde Drexler, you don't have Michael Jordan, you don't have, the list goes on and on. So I just want to I want to put that out there. Cherish. I guess the main message is to cherish, the and really admire the old aspect of the NBA, and the way it was back in the 50s and 60s, and even in the early 70s, how the game was played. So going over some of Bill Russell's career highlights and career awards. He's an 11-time NBA champion. First of all, that's the main one that sticks out. He has more rings than hands. That's just amazing. He's a 5-time NBA Most Valuable Player. He's a 12-time NBA All-Star. He was named NBA All-Star MVP in 1963. He's a 3-time NBA First Team, 8-time NBA Second Team, 1-time NBA All-Defensive Team, 4-time NBA Rebounding Champion, which you don't see that often. He was named to the NBA 50th Anniversary Team, the 35th Anniversary Team, and the 25th Anniversary Team. His number 6 is retired by the Boston Celtics, of course. He's also a 2-time NCAA champion. He was also NCAA Tournament Most Outstanding Player. He was College Player of the Year. He's a WCC Player of the Year, and his number 6 jersey is retired by the University of San Francisco. And he's also has 2 rings as NBA coach. So I mean that's just the short resume of but Bill Russell and how great he was. You go over his stats, and he averaged about 15.1 points per game, 22.5 total rebounds per game, 4.3 assists per game, and then it trickles down from there. And he spent his whole career with the Boston Celtics, something that it doesn't really you don't forget about that. Of course, he was the coach for the Boston Celtics. He also coached the Seattle Supersonics for 4 years, and then for a year he coached the Sacramento Kings. So it's just a great career. His career lasted from about 1956 to 1969, and he played center. And then his coaching career, he was coach for 1966 to 1988. So he has a wide range of accolades and awards and achievements, and a wide resume. So I just wanted to, again, just put out there that Bill Russell, the original Russell, as I should say, he is admired by not only me but the NBA community, and congratulations to him once again on getting the Lifetime Achievement Award. Well deserved for him to get that Lifetime Achievement Award. So I'm sure we'll hear more about him saying he would kick people's asses, because that was just hilarious. But it's true. Again, I said this earlier, and his competitive nature has not wavered at all in his old age. So congratulations again to Bill Russell for getting the Lifetime Achievement Award. Well, that'll do it for another episode of Radio Calling. Again, I am Sam, your host. Be sure to click that subscribe button if you would like to hear more podcasts by Radio Calling. Be sure to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at LondonCalling22. And be on the lookout for the next episode of Radio Calling, which should be released at the end of the week, closer to the end of the week, possibly over the weekend. So, again, I am Sam, your host. We'll see you later.